Here's what's cooking on today's Sports Stove Football Show. The world is enamored by illegal gambling. We'll discuss it. We also have our NFL picks, our college football picks, a little bit of trade discussion to talk about, and college football. One program has turned it around, the other fired their coach. That's what's cooking on today's Sports Stove Football Show. Welcome into an all-new edition of the Sports Stove Football Show on the Belly Up Sports Network, presented by Righteous Felon Jerky. Join the flavor revolution at righteousfelon.com. Use the promo code STOVE15, that's STOVE15, to get 15% off your purchase. Well, all kinds of news has hit the wire today. Not necessarily football news, but we're going to tie it in nonetheless. Before we get to it, I'm Vince Stover. I'm joined every week by my dad, Dale Stover. Dad, we got a big weekend coming up in the Stover household as the Packers take on Aaron Rodgers this weekend. How are you preparing for that?
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to it. We'll talk about that, but I think we're going to be in good shape. It's a big game. We will see. You never know what's going to happen when it is Aaron Rodgers. All the talk this week, everybody said the right thing. Aaron Rodgers has said the right thing.
Yeah.
Jordan Love said the right thing. Coach LaFleur said the right thing. I'm sure the fans have said the right thing, which would be different than what they said. But anyhow, we will see how that goes. We have talked about having the good luck bratwurst and things like that on Sunday, so we will see.
All right, very good. Well, earlier today, the news broke of the gambling, I guess the gambling and the arrests that were being made in the NBA right now. Chauncey Billups, FBI arrested him. We saw a player, Damon Jones, arrested too. So all these things going on. And originally, I wasn't planning on discussing it. Here we are, a football show. But I really got to thinking about how we've been watching some games recently in the NFL and in college football where the officiating has been just crazily on one side. We saw a game with Kansas City, and every time Kansas City plays, especially on that national scale, everyone's criticizing the officials and all this kind of stuff. But I mean, zero penalties, all that kind of stuff. So this just reminded me how important it is for the NFL, for college football, the SEC, the Big Ten, the NCAA to really focus in on these officials, because you never know what's happening behind the scenes. You wouldn't have thought Terry Rozier would have taken a dive, those kinds of things. And so you need to pay attention when it's something is so obviously off. There must be attention paid to it. And, I don't believe that anything is scripted, of course, but the fact that there could be an official that is betting or has his family or friends betting on a game, that's very, very possible. And so when we see these games so off balance, the NFL, the NCAA, the conferences, they need to take it very seriously and make sure they're watching carefully at what's going on, because obviously there's a lot of craziness going on out there. And so I will be watching games a little differently this week, even in football. I'll be watching a little differently, thinking in the back of my head, I'm a little bit of a skeptic anyhow. So I'll be sitting there going, wait a second, I'm not sure that fits that doesn't look right. So we'll see. We'll see how it all shakes down. Dad, we talked about this several years ago. Once you get involved and more open in sports betting, you just open the door for problems. And it's back in the day, you had the guys that were threatening players and, this kind of stuff. And I think we probably thought we were past all that, but obviously we're not. So I don't know. Give us your thoughts on just the craziness going on right now with the arrests and maybe how it impacts sports as a whole.
Well, like I said, the thing that's changed in the last few years has been the sports betting and the legalizing of that. It's obviously increased attention. It's increased viewership. More people have gotten involved in it. They've made it very, very simple. They've made it where casual fans can do it for fun. Don't even have to get into it. There's still the serious gambling that goes on, and a lot of money, but they've made it very easy and in some ways a lot of fun. And it's a problem because the discussion usually comes up every week. When people review the games, it's not uncommon to hear, boy, that guy fumbled the ball right there at the end, and that changed, millions of dollars. And a lot of people, okay, well, when people are thinking that way, I know there are people that tried to fight this years ago. I remember Bobby Knight, who had his problems maybe as a coach, but he really came out vocally, and I won't quote exactly what he said, but the fact that they publish the lines in the paper, he couldn't believe that. He knew you were setting up for trouble when you did that. But of course, we've gone way past that now. And like I said, it's going to get into things, players, coaches, officials. I think I saw this week where now they're going to let college players and college coaches bet on pro games.
Yeah.
So they're just increasing the situation. But so much money's been generated. The NFL has been driven for years and years by money, yeah, and gambling. They saw that as an avenue. Now, I think there's always possibility for someone to step over the line, and then then they would have to make serious changes or whatever to it. But it does place a lot of temptation in front of people. But I think, like you said, if they will stay on it and stay alert to it, but if they ever catch an official or a group of officials that are involved in a ring of something, that will really change a lot of things, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean, people are always going to break rules, but I mean, I don't know. This is a hard one. You've already opened the box, so it'll be interesting to see how I saw on ESPN today. They were talking about the arrest, and they had their ad for the ESPN bet up on the corner of the screen, and all of a sudden it went gray. It disappeared. And it is what it is. You got someone paying you to promote it. That's one thing. But yeah, the athletes, the coaches, the officials, boy, they're going to have to do a very good job of making sure everyone's clean, because there's been too many questionable things that have happened for sure. Dad, let's start in the NFL today. And I want to start with get your thoughts on something in Green Bay. So the trade deadline's coming up a week from Tuesday, and everything that I'm seeing, the Packers have made phone calls for two positions. They've called on running backs and they've called on cornerbacks. They even called Miami about Davon Achane. I've seen multiple reports on this. But the report that seemed the most credible said that they were just calling and asking what the price was for Achane, because that would be a massive move that doesn't seem necessary for Green Bay, in my opinion. But I saw some cornerbacks listed. Alontae Taylor from New Orleans. That's one I'd love to see come over. A Tennessee kid. See him come over would be awesome. But nonetheless, Green Bay, let's not spend too much time on this because we're not a Packer show, but we are Packer fans. So what do the Packers need at the trade deadline to make sure they make their Super Bowl run this season?
Well, I think, of course, you can always use depth, but I think cornerback is the thing that you're looking at this point. Now, again, the thing that they've relied on this year, and if they can get everybody healthy, is they have such a good pass rush that when you have a good pass rush and you can put pressure on the quarterback, which they have proved they can, then it makes it easier on the back end. Both for corners and for safeties. The Packers have good safeties. There's no doubt about that. But the cornerback position is one. I like Keyshawn Nixon, and I think he's good. But the other spot they definitely don't have, and Nixon is not as good as Jair Alexander was in his prime for sure. I think that's something they'll definitely address in the draft. You can get a good cornerback in the second, third round, or a couple of them, and I would think that's what they would look at. But I think the trade deadline, if they could get to the right thing, they could help themselves there. I think, depending on injuries, again, I think Devontae Wyatt could be back this week, which would help. Van Ness will not be, but probably in another week, I would think, from there. So that will help. They're strong in some areas. You said running back was the other thing they were looking at.
Yeah,
that's a little interesting. They've again, you have to watch injuries, but they've got a good starting running back. The backups, it's the whole thing there. Marshawn Lloyd has not been able to stay healthy. If he can ever get healthy, they've probably got another dynamic running back. But that hasn't happened in the first 2 years of his career here. So we will, we will see from that. I mean, again, if you have a good backup, most teams, a lot of teams now have two good running backs, and if you have that definitely helps. So
maybe they can go trade for
Savion Williams is coming on to look pretty good, and he's a big guy, but we'll see.
Yeah, maybe if they go out and trade for like an AJ Dillon or something like that. I don't want that, but there are backs available for sure. All right, let's get into it. Quarterbacks. So New Orleans, Spencer Rattler's 1-6. They still haven't turned to Tyler Shuck. San Francisco has Mac Jones that's playing as good or better than Brock Purdy. So Purdy's still technically injured. They're going to let Jones play again. The Jets have made the switch to Tyrod Taylor over Justin Fields. So I just want to hit on these three teams. Should New Orleans go ahead and make the switch to Tyler Shuck, or should they stick with Spencer Rattler?
Oh, I think they should make the switch because they've got to see what they have there.
Yes.
Going into the draft, I listened to your podcast today, and they're going to be in a spot to draft a quarterback if they need to. Right. So they need to see. The question is he far enough along in the system and everything? Does he need another week or two? But if they don't use him at all, that wouldn't make any sense. Spencer Rattler is not going to be the guy long term. Right. I think they can see that. And again, they did the draft choice on Slough, so they need to I think they need to let him play. And as soon as sooner the better, and see what they have, because they can always bring Rattler back in.
Yeah, I think Rattler has proven that he is a very solid backup quarterback. If you need him for 2 to 3 weeks, you're going to be okay. But as a starter, he's just not there. And again, you drafted Tyler Shuck, so give him a chance to play. San Francisco, we talked about this on the Tuesday fantasy show, but Mac Jones, Brock Purdy, the only difference is the salary. And if Mac Jones keeps winning, how hard is it to go back to Brock Purdy versus just stick it out with Mac Jones? What should San Francisco do when Purdy is officially healthy? Should they go back to Purdy or should they stick with Mac Jones?
Well, I thought this, and it's not a simple answer, because I think sometimes you stay with Mac Jones as long as he's winning. But at the end of the year, they're going to want to trade one of these guys. There's no question about it. Brock Purdy has got a big salary. So
Okay.
is Brock Purdy established enough that somebody's going to pay what, they're going to want to pay to get him? That's going to, the only thing I can see about having Brock Purdy play or now is to increase his value or prove his value if you want to move him later on. Otherwise, as long as they stay healthy, I mean, to me, they've really overachieved. I'm surprised at their record. And if Mac Jones is winning, there's no reason. There's no reason to make the change. But like I said, they really put themselves on a spot with the contract with Brock Purdy. So I don't think it's real simple from there because I think they're going to want to trade. If they could trade Brock Purdy now, that would be great. But what will they get, from that standpoint? So,
yeah, I mean, Jones is on a 2-year contract. First year of his 2-year contract. He's 8.4 mil, only 5 guaranteed. He's getting bonuses for every win that he plays. For if he gets 25% of the snaps, he gets a bonus. He gets a bonus if he plays half the snaps and if the 49ers make the playoffs. But they're not big bonuses. So, the reality, Dad, is San Francisco could trade Mac Jones at the trade deadline this year and probably get a pretty good haul if he does that. They won't be able to trade Brock Purdy. The contract is so big, that's not going to happen. So the reality comes down to if you're gonna trade somebody, it's going to be Mac Jones. The question is do you say, hey, listen, Brock Purdy's healthy. We like where we're at with him, and let's go ahead and move Mac Jones now. I think they'll hold on to him for the rest of the year, trade him in the offseason. And I'm pretty sure that 2-year contract does not have an opt-out for Mac Jones. If it does, he'll clearly opt out and be a free agent. But, yeah, Mac Jones is the one that will move. That's why they're going to go back to Brock Purdy. Ultimately, he's your long-term answer. Now, if he comes back and doesn't play well, that's a whole nother story. But, is what it is. Okay, Jets, they went to Tyrod Taylor. Again, not a long-term answer. They're going to draft a quarterback, I'm sure, in the first round this year. Do you think that Justin Fields is the problem in New York, or do you think they should have stuck with him?
Well, the biggest problem in New York is the owner, and there's no doubt about that. When you get an owner making decisions and getting involved to this extent, especially when you have a new coach, I mean, the new coach has to have time to get things under control. I've always believed, and you kind of have too, that Fields has got a lot of potential. But he's been in a tough spot here. Surprised they've won no games. Tyrod Taylor is not going to be a long-term answer, but the Jets can draft a quarterback. And even if Fields came back and played fairly well, the Jets might draft a quarterback if they've got a guy from that end. But right now, with the owner getting involved the way he is, it's a mess. The only thing that's going to straighten anything up is if they win a couple games. If they win a couple games and stabilize, then we'll see. I don't know that. I mean, I haven't watched the Jets games exclusively. I don't know the Fields is the biggest problem, and I really think that decision should be up to the coach. If the coach thinks, hey, let's try something different here for a little bit, then he would have the knowledge of that. But I'm not sure that's who's making the decision.
Well, I think you have to make the change. You're 0-7. I mean, you're gonna have to do something. So it's either fire a coach or change quarterbacks. So I don't blame them for making the switch at this point. It has not been pretty. I don't know how much of that's on the play calling, how much of that's on Fields. It's not like Tyrod Taylor came in and just crushed it this week either. So we'll see. There will not be a lot of wins in New York this year from the Jets, and we'll definitely be getting we'll be seeing a draft pick coming our way. I would assume maybe a free agent signing, but I would be shocked if they don't draft a quarterback in the first round this year. All right, let's get into our picks, Dad. We got 6 games to pick this week. Let's start with tonight's game, Thursday night. It's kicking off in about 2 hours. The Vikings at the Chargers. Chargers are 3.5-point favorites in this one. And you got the Vikings sticking with Carson Wentz. J.J. McCarthy could play, but they're sticking with Carson Wentz. Aaron Jones is back tonight, coming out off of injured reserve, so he's back tonight as well. And the Chargers, man, they're beat up at running back, but everything else seems to be clicking pretty nicely for Los Angeles so far this season. So Chargers 4-3, Vikings 3-3. Who are you taking in this game, Dad? Vikings or Chargers?
Oh, I'm going to go with the Chargers. They're at home, and again, they've had a tough couple weeks, but you would think that they can rebound there. They are at home. Again, we know home is not as big a deal some ways with that, but Minnesota to me is obviously overachieved, but we'll see if they win this one. They do have strong defense, but again, you would think the Chargers can handle. Anyhow, I'll pick the Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, the only way we can get you to say something nice about the Chargers is when they play an NFC North team. But I'm with you on this one. The Chargers are my team as well. Listen, Carson Wentz is the quarterback. I can't pick it, so I'm going the opposite way here. I'll go Chargers with you, Dad. The home favorites in this game. Sunday night is the battle we've been anticipating. The 4-1-1 Green Bay Packers travel to Pittsburgh to face the 4-2 Pittsburgh Steelers. Aaron Rodgers against the Packers. This will be his first time playing Green Bay since he left. And you're right. He said all the right things. Today he says, listen, I started as a Packer. I'm going to end my career as a Packer. This would be a bigger deal if it was in Green Bay, all that kind of stuff. And I agree. I think that's true. But ultimately, Dad, I sit here and look at it and go, the Steelers 4-2 ahead of the division, yet at the same time, haven't looked great. They've done some okay things. Rodgers and the receivers are connecting now. DK Metcalf especially. We talked about the Packers' issues at cornerback already. So, Dad, I'm picking the Packers. I'm not going to pick against them against the Steelers. So I'm going Packers in this one, and I'm pretty sure you are as well.
Yes, I'll pick the Packers. And I do think they'll win, and I think it'll be because of the defense. I think they'll be able to put a lot of pressure on Rodgers. Rodgers will make some good plays, no doubt about that. But again, I mean, where he's at and with his age and everything, if the Packers can really keep pressure on him and the defense, can play for 4 quarters, I think they'll be in good shape. The offense is getting better. The offensive line played better last week. The same 5 played the whole game. That was a good thing there. We'll see whether Christian Watson is back this week or not. A lot of talk about that. But I think the Packers can win this one at Pittsburgh. And, both teams need it in a whole lot of ways. But, I'll pick the Packers.
Yeah, I think the Packers pass rush is really starting to come on now, which is crucial because that helps the issues at cornerback. We discussed that earlier. Love has looked really good. He's connecting very well. Matthew Golden has really stepped up as of late as well. And so, a lot of good things happening right now. Packers are 3.5-point favorites on the road this week in Pittsburgh. We'll both go with Green Bay. All right, Monday night game, only one this week. Kansas City will host the Commanders. Looks like it'll be Mariota versus Mahomes, the matchup we were all anticipating. The Chiefs are now at a 12.5-point favorite at home against the injured Commanders. They're out a couple of receivers. It's been a rough go so far for the Commanders health-wise. So, Dad, Kansas City at home as almost a 2-touchdown favorite, or are you going with the big upset from Marcus Mariota and the Commanders?
No, I'll go with the Chiefs. I'm a little surprised they're favored by that much, but like you said, I guess the Commanders are banged up in a lot of ways. And with Mariota, That's not a good thing there. So, and I think the Chiefs do have things going a little bit, but this should be a game at home they can handle easily.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going Chiefs also. If it wasn't a primetime game, we wouldn't have even put this on our slate, but we pick all the primetime games. So there it is. All right, let's go to some other games this week. The Ravens are 1-5. They're hosting the 4-2 Chicago Bears. And Dad, the Ravens are a 6.5-point favorite in this game. Even though they cannot win a game to save their lives, it seems like. And the Bears have looked pretty decent so far. I know that how you feel about the Bears, but we also know the Ravens have not looked good. So are you going with Baltimore at home? Looks like Lamar Jackson will be back, or with Chicago on the road?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go with Baltimore at home. If they're going to get back on track, this is a good way to do it. They're at the right spot. If Lamar Jackson's back, and if they're going to rebound at all, which they need to, then this is a game they're going to need. The Bears have won 4 in a row, but and if they could go into Baltimore and win, that'll really give them a lot of juice. But I really don't expect that.
So I said at the beginning of the year, I thought Ben Johnson was the second best hire in the offseason. And I think he's a very good coach. And I think what you're seeing in Chicago right now is they're starting to buy in to what he's doing. If the Bears can jump early on Baltimore, the way that the season's going for the Ravens, I don't see Baltimore reacting in a good way. I see it being pretty tumultuous in Baltimore. And so I'm going to go with the Bears in this one. I think that they can get up early. And if they do, then it's going to be lights out for Baltimore. It could be major changes coming, trade deadline. We could see some players moved. There could be a hotter seat going on for Harbaugh. I don't think they should fire Harbaugh, but I could see a seat getting extra hot in this situation as well. So I'm going to go Chicago in this one. It doesn't feel good, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it anyways. All right, let's go to the 49ers and the Texans next. 49ers travel to Houston. Houston is now a 2.5-point favorite. But again, kind of like Baltimore and Chicago, the records here are vastly different. San Francisco, the underdog, is 5-2. Houston, the home favorite, is 2-4. They've only won 2 games all season, and yet they're still a favorite against San Francisco. So are you going Houston at home, San Francisco on the road?
Well, I'm going to go with San Francisco. This was a hard one to look at, but I think they're playing better. There's some kind of problems. I mean, I like Houston. I hope they rebound and can win the division, but that's not where it's been headed right now. And I'm a little surprised they're favored. But anyhow, I would have to try to pick the winning team. I'll go with the 49ers.
All right, I'm going to go opposite on you on this one too. I would feel better about picking the 49ers probably. For whatever reason, I can't stop thinking at some point it has to get right in Houston. And I'm just going to go ahead and say that it could be this week. The defense has been so good. Surely they're putting all kinds of effort into the offense in practice. So therefore, I am going to go ahead and pick Houston in that game opposite of you. All right, last game we're picking is the Dallas Cowboys at the Denver Broncos. Dallas 3-1. The Broncos 5-2. Broncos are 3.5-point favorites at home in this game. Dad, give me your pick for Dallas or Denver.
Well, it's kind of been a crazy night for picks. And since you picked the Bears, we'll just continue the chaos and I'll pick the Cowboys in this one. I just have a feeling they'll come ready to play. Denver has played good so far, but I will go with the Cowboys in the upset on this one.
All right, your picks have been very good, but I'm going to go opposite of you again on this one. I'll go Denver because it's at home. I think Dallas has played better. CeeDee Lamb is back now. The run game has definitely improved, and this is a revenge game by the way, for the Dallas running back. So there is potential there for Dallas to look really, really good. But I'm going to go ahead and go with the home team in this one. So interesting picks. We agree Chargers over Vikings, Packers over Steelers, and Chiefs over Commanders. But we're split. I go Bears, you go Ravens. I've got the Texans, you've got 49ers, and I'll take Denver, and you'll go. There's a man. You can always say you did it once. You'll go with Dallas this week and our picks. Let's look at the other games really quick here. We'll try to go through this pretty fast, Dad. Jets at Bengals. Jets winless. Bengals, the offense has looked better with Flacco. I'm sure people in Cincinnati are happier now than they were with Jake Browning. I'll take the Bengals in this one, Dad. How about you?
Yes, I'll go with the Bengals at home also.
All right, Dolphins out, Falcons. I think it's a dumpster fire in Miami. I do not know how in the world they have not fired McDaniel yet. His attitude, his body language on the sideline has been horrendous. You got to get it out of the building. But they keep saying they're not going to do anything soon. Give me Atlanta at home over Miami. How about you, Dad?
Yeah, it's every other week, and so this is the Falcons' week to win.
There you go. 7.5-point favorites, by the way. Buffalo travels to Carolina. Buffalo always loses games they should not lose, but they've already done that this year. Can they take out Carolina in Carolina, or will the Panthers get a big win with Andy Dalton at quarterback?
Well, I'll go with Buffalo, but they better watch out because Carolina has surprised. So we will see.
They've surprised with Bryce Young. I don't know they can surprise with Andy Dalton. So I'm with Buffalo also. Giants at Eagles. We've already seen the Giants improve. We've seen them take down the Eagles already. Now they're back at it again, this time in Philadelphia. Will the Eagles get revenge this week?
I will go with the Eagles to be able to win this week.
I agree. Cleveland at New England. Dylan Gabriel at quarterback. They're still trying to figure some of those things out. Quinshon Judkins has looked really good. New England's been a solid team, Dad, and at 5-2, they're kind of a sneaky good team right now. I like the Patriots. Do you like the Browns or the Patriots?
Yeah, I'll go with the Patriots, but I think anytime you're playing the Browns and that defense, especially with a team like New England, anything could happen.
Anything can happen. Tampa Bay travels to New Orleans. Tampa Bay is really beat up, but New Orleans is really bad. I go Buccaneers. How about you?
Yeah, I'll go Buccaneers on this one.
All right. And then the last one is Titans at Colts. Danny Dimes, a 14.5-point favorite over the number 1 overall draft pick, coached by Mike McCoy. Can the Titans sneak one in on the Colts here, or do the Colts take it?
No, I don't think so. The Colts, earlier in the year I might have said that, but the Colts have been solid. So we'll see how long they hold up, but they should be able to handle the Titans.
I'm with you on that one, too. All right, before we transition to college football talk, a reminder, our show was presented by Righteous Felon Jerky. Join the flavor revolution at righteousfelon.com. Use the promo code STOVE15. You're going to get 15% off your purchase. All right, Dad, let's head over to college football. Let's do
are we doing
UCLA.
Are we doing the sole survivor pick?
Oh, yeah, sole survivor pick in the NFL. I've got the Colts this week against the Titans, so I'm taking Indianapolis as my survivor pick this week. Who do you have, Dad?
Well, I've already used the Colts, so to survive this week, you need to head deep into the jungle, and we'll go with the Bengals. The Bengals should win this week, and I have them as my sole survivor.
There you go. Our survivor picks are presented by Righteous Felons Soul Survivor Flavor, Korean barbecue flavored jerky. Phenomenal. Find it at righteousfelon.com. Use the promo code STOVE15 to get 15% off your purchase. All right, Dad, now to college football. Thank you for reminding me of that. Now to college football, though. UCLA fires their coach, and everything looks like it's going to pot. And the next thing you know, UCLA is on a winning streak and are an incredibly dangerous team. One of the most unique turnarounds, I think, that we've seen in quite some time. a turnaround that Penn State's hoping to see, and that some other teams, Florida's hoping to see. But the UCLA thing has been amazing, Dad. Your thoughts on that turnaround there?
Yeah, it's been surprising. The coach, of course, Tim Skipper, you would think there's got a good chance to get the job with the way he's turned this around. And, like I said, being in the Big Ten, the fact that they could turn things around the way they have has been amazing. But, UCLA should always be a good football team, and right now they are. So,
yeah, they are. And I want to talk about Florida real quick. We knew Billy Napier was getting fired. All the reports told us that. Win or lose didn't matter. He won the game, and the crowd booed him as he ran off the field. Like, what are we doing in Florida right now where the guy's getting fired? He just won a football game. Why are you booing him? What a horrible look. I'm a coach, and I know Florida has history, and the home games have a great atmosphere. If I'm a coach, I'm going, why do I want to go to that fan base? Oh my goodness. I don't know. That's my thought on it. Any thoughts on Billy Napier out of the crowd booing him on his way out?
Yeah, that was crazy. And, it's going to be interesting with, colleges have gotten quick on firing people, and it's going to be real. The hiring of this one is going to be real interesting when it starts coming around here, and it won't be long. So,
yeah, we'll discuss options on a future episode. All right, Dad, you've been crushing your college football picks recently. You currently have a record of 24-16 in your college football picks this year. I am pretty much the opposite. I'm 17-23 this year. So let's take a look at it. Ole Miss and Oklahoma. Ole Miss ranked number 8, Oklahoma at number 13. Oklahoma is now a 5.5-point favorite. Dad, are you going hotty toddy or boomer sooner?
Well, I'll go boomer sooner. I was a little surprised they were favored, but being at home, I think Ole Miss, that game will really they'll be dejected on that one, because that was one they really could have moved on from there. And Oklahoma has played well, so I'll go with Oklahoma. We'll see.
Yeah, it's a hard one for me. I'm going to go Oklahoma also. There's a lot of rumors that Lane Kiffin is going to be Florida's choice. And so you've got some things going on behind the scenes. There could be a hard time focusing this week for Ole Miss. So I'm going to go Oklahoma as well. Dad, you mentioned it last week, so I put it on here. South Florida and Memphis. Memphis did lose. They're both 6-1. South Florida is the favorite at 5.5 points right now. But South Florida's on the road this week. So Memphis gets the loss. Do they get back in the win column this week, or are you going with the ranked South Florida?
Yeah, we'll go with South Florida. I think they will, since Memphis lost from there. That was quite an interesting upset last week too, with UAB, with the new interim coach getting that big win.
For sure. I'm going to go Memphis in this one, Dad. I like them at home. I think they're a better team than they're giving credit for. And I think South Florida may be a slightly overrated as well. So I'm going to go Memphis in this game. All right, let's talk about number 10 ranked Vanderbilt. I cannot believe I just said, talking about football, that Vanderbilt is ranked number 10, but they are, and they are hosting Missouri this week. And Dad, Vanderbilt is the favorite, only by 2.5 points, though. This could be a phenomenal game. Dad, this is an interesting one for Vanderbilt, because they've already won some big ones, and they've got some big ones to come, thinking about Tennessee especially. Are you going Missouri or Vanderbilt?
Well, I'm going to go Vanderbilt at home. I've seen them play a few times. Missouri's good also, but Vanderbilt has things going the right direction. And with this being at home, like you said, this could be a really good ball game. But I mean, who would have ever thought Vanderbilt number 10 at this point of the season? But they're playing well, and their coach obviously has things turned around, or trying to get things turned around as much as you can at Vanderbilt.
Yeah, my heart tells me I need to pick Missouri here, but I'm not. I'm going to stick with Vanderbilt also, and go ahead and how many times can I pick number 10 Vanderbilt in my life? It seems like this might be the only time. So I'm going Vanderbilt here also. All right, BYU, ranked number 11, 7-0, but they're the underdog this week at unranked Iowa State, who's 5-2. No respect for BYU this week heading in to Iowa State. Are you going to go with the Cougars or the Cyclones?
I'm going to go with the Cougars. I looked at their schedule. I may have mentioned it a week ago. They have a very, very tough schedule, but they won a big one with Utah last week. And I think they'll keep things rolling for another week.
All right. I'm going to go with the home team. I'm going to go Iowa State in this one. BYU has played well. The win last week was a very good win, but can they keep that high? Can they keep the adrenaline? Can they keep the momentum going from that game? Or maybe do they overlook Iowa State a little bit? I'm going to go Iowa State in this game. All right, Dad, last game we're picking this week is Texas A&M at LSU. LSU is coming off a pretty rough week, and Dad, they're playing an undefeated Texas A&M. I don't know that LSU has been a home dog very often recently, but they are this week, 2.5-point dog to Texas A&M, who is ranked number 3 in the nation. Are you going with the Aggies or LSU?
This was an interesting one to look at. I'd mentioned last week that LSU is going to be kind of a lightning rod for people, and they were a boost for Vanderbilt, and I think Texas A&M. I'm a little surprised about them also, but I think they'll keep going. LSU, it's going to be hard to recover from that last week. So I think even though they are at home, that helps. But I'm going to go with Texas A&M, and the Aggies will just keep whispering across the line, "You lost to Vanderbilt. You lost to Vanderbilt."
I told everyone in our SEC preview episode that this is the year for Texas A&M. And it's because they finally were under the radar. Finally, no one was talking about them. Coach Elko has them playing great. They're deservingly the number 3 team in the nation. There are issues in Baton Rouge. It looks like probably a new coach next year. Nussmeier has the injury issues, and it's just not working anymore. At the end of the day, Dad, give me Texas A&M this week as well. And we'll all be whispering across the line, "You lost to Vanderbilt," to LSU this week, because that was a total shock in my opinion. All right, Dad, anything else you want to discuss before we wrap up?
No, like I said, we talked about the top 25, and that looks pretty solid right now. But the next 2 weeks be a lot of shakeup, just like there was this week, with teams losing, and could look a lot different in the next week or two. But we'll see. Should be good football games this week in college. And of course, there's always good football games in the NFL.
For sure. All right. Couple things real quick as we wrap up. Follow us on social media at Sports Stove. That's on Twitter and Instagram. Just today dropped a new episode of a brand new show that we're doing called the Sports Stove Draft Show. Right now we're going through different position groups. And so we got quarterbacks dropped today, running backs dropping tomorrow, offensive tackles dropping on Saturday. You can find those in one of 2 places. You can find them on the Sports Stove YouTube channel or on the Sports Stove Football Show podcast on Apple or Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. This show is always put up on the Belly Up Sports YouTube channel and available on that same podcast place, the Sports Stove Football Show. So if you're listening to the audio, it's right there ready for you. If you're watching us, you'll have to go find it. It'll be on the Sports Stove YouTube channel that you can find there. And we've got it on our socials posted, links posted, and everything there as well. So at Sports Stove is the socials. Follow us there. We're going to be talking draft all the way through, working on getting some guests on that played at a high level that can break down some players for us and things like that as well. What else? Oh, Righteous Felon Jerky. Don't forget them. Go to righteousfelon.com. Get your snacks ready for the Thanksgiving afternoon when you're sitting around and watching some football, eating some jerky, and be thinking ahead to your stocking stuffers at Christmas too. Righteous Felon Jerky makes a great stocking stuffer, whether it be their jerky or their beef sticks as well. Go to righteousfelon.com. The promo code is STOVE15, STOVE15 at checkout for 15% off your purchase. All right. Thank you for tuning in to today's edition of the Sports Stove Football Show. Let's all enjoy us a Packers-Steelers game on Sunday night. Until next time, we'll see you around the Sports Stove.